All right, so these are the 3 things that you need to avoid if your goal is to sign clients for a marketing agency or a service-based business. If you don't avoid these 3 things, you will not sign clients. And the only reason that you would click away from this video right now is if you genuinely don't want to grow your business, right? So if that's you, by all means, you can click away. But what I'm going to share in this video is what I've learned from helping 20, 30 plus established 6, 7, and even 8-figure marketing agencies to sign clients, and the 3 things that I found that really inhibit everything in terms of getting the actual outcome. So again, if you don't know who I am, my name's Ethan Welby, co-founder of AGP, Agency Growth Partner. We've been helping tons, like I was saying, establish marketing agencies, sign clients predictably, build out offers, marketing systems, and sales systems. So let's get into the video. The first thing that you need to avoid if your goal is to sign clients is, number 1, broke people. Right? And what I mean by this one is avoiding people that don't have money, avoiding businesses who don't have the money. And think about it, it's extremely logical, and I really shouldn't need to explain this point, but if you had the choice, let's say you're offering marketing services, let's say you have the choice between working with 2 people. One person has $1 million company making tons of money every single month, and the other person is just starting out. Who would you rather help? Who has the highest likelihood of buying, firstly? So you'll have an easier time selling to the people with money. And they'll also get better results because the people that you're helping, because they're at this revenue amount, it just shows that they've done good things to actually get there. They're, reasonably smart at least. So because of that, you're going to have a better time working with them because they have more resources, they have a better team, they have better experience, and they understand the value of what you're doing, as opposed to the guy who just launched their first business, they're just starting out, and they don't know what's going on, and they're just doing everything themselves. So the first thing that we need to do, the first thing that we need to avoid is working with people who don't have the budget, who don't have the money, who don't see the value in what you do. Now you might be asking, Ethan, that's great, but all my people, all the prospects, all the clients, they come from referrals, they come to me, they come through inbound, so I can't actually choose who I want to work with. And that brings me on to the second point. The next thing that you need to avoid is relying on referrals and inbound for your growth, right? So I'll write this down. Inbound, and why this is bad, relying on referrals and inbound, not the actual writing. The writing is, as you can see, very good. The biggest problem with this is there's no choice over who you want to work with. You just have to take whoever comes to you, and in many cases, the people who come to you may not be the most qualified ones, right? As opposed to being able to choose exactly who you want to work with. So the problem with inbound, like I was saying, inbound referrals, it shows that you're great at what you do. It shows that you have the case studies, that people want to work with you, that your clients are happy that they're talking about you. That's fantastic. But what you're lacking is predictability. You're lacking the certainty. Being able to know that, okay, every single week, if I just do what I'm doing now, I'll get 20 meetings, right? From 20 meetings, I'll close 10 clients. From 10 clients, I'll make, an additional 40,000 per month. Knowing that knowing those numbers, having that certainty is what's going to allow you to do all the other things that you want to do in the business. So if you have the certainty, if you have the predictable lead flow, and cash flow too, then okay, I can make these hires. I can get a sales team on board. I can get someone to do the selling for me, and then I can remove myself from the process. So this is a common thing that we see amongst our partners right now, is that they want to ascend throughout the business. They want to hire salespeople. They want to hire more team members. They want to get full-time people on to actually do the day-to-day work, but they can't because they can't predictably book the meetings, sign the clients, and bring in predictable cash flow. So obviously this is where we come in. If you want more information on what we do, you can just check the link in the description, but we build all of this out. But either way, you can do this on your own. And the solution for growing on inbound and referrals is building an outbound system, right? So what this is simply, and people overcomplicate this way too much. So what I'm going to do is break it down to the core components, the principles of it, so that you can get started as soon as possible and see results. And forget about all the other YouTube channels. You can just subscribe to this one and just watch this video over and over. But either way, all we're doing, the entire approach that we're using in our outreach, in our outbound, it's not some spammy 1,000 email a day method. It's not some, unsolicited emails, whatever. All we're doing, all right, is picking our best case study. Pick our best case study. Let's say we helped a dentist to generate an extra 10K a month. Right? Let's say this is your best one. You pick the dentist. You say, cool, this is the case study. Then what we're going to do is we're going to reach out, guess what, to other dentists and ask them if they'd be open to adding an extra 10K a month. And if they are even slightly rational, slightly not stupid, they're going to say yes. They're going to say, of course, I'd be open to it. Then what you say is, would you be open to hearing some more information about how we can do it for you? They'll say yes, because anyone in that situation should say yes. And then what you're going to do is get onto a call, ask them about their current situation, what are they currently doing, where they're currently at revenue-wise, where do they want to be, what's stopping them from getting there. And then what you do is you say, perfect, I think I can help you get there. Let me put together a proposal, get onto a second call, walk them through your method that you already did for someone else, walk them through it. They'll be like, this makes complete sense. It worked before. Let's sign up. That's it. That is the entire process. That is how you sign clients in a nutshell. But most people don't do that. And we'll go into more reasons as to why and as to how you can do this practically. But that is all you need to know. So if we can solve this one problem of inbound, growing off referrals, growing off inbound, then you'll have a much, much better time signing clients, because firstly, solving the first problem as well is that you don't need to work with the people who don't have money, because you can choose to only reach out to the people who are established, who have the finances, who want to work with you, see the value in it, right? So this is going to solve both of those problems by implementing some sort of outbound system. And again, this is what we do, but you can do it without us. Now the final point over here is, I don't even know why I tried to write this out, but it's ignoring external factors. Right? External factors. Now, to give an example of this, if, let's say you're sitting down at a coffee shop and you see someone who walks in, excellent posture, in a suit, shaven, great haircut, super confident, speaks with confidence, you would think they're a successful person, right? Just because of the way they present themselves, just because they're in a suit, because they speak confidently, because they can articulate themselves well, because they have the great whatever, right? You would assume that they are successful. You would assume that they are great at what they do, just because of their presentation. But in reality, that could have been a homeless guy who just got a haircut and found a suit on the street. It could be a homeless guy. But because of the perception, because of the way he looks, you would think he's successful. And it's not just, the fact that you think he looks successful. The thing is, he's going to get treated differently because he looks successful. So the people at the coffee shop, they're not just going to be like, yeah, there's a table over there. They'll be like, hey, nice to see you. Here's a table. Let me get you a menu. Let me get you a drink. All these things, just because of the way he looks. And the same way, if a billionaire, decided, let me just look like a homeless person and walk around and see what happens, people are just going to, treat him completely differently. So in this way, people forget about this when it comes to business. They think, let me just, have nothing online. Let me just, just send terrible emails with typos in it. So what we want to realize is that external factors are a real thing. So in the example of the agency, to the prospect, you might look, let's say you offer SEO. You might be the absolute best at SEO in the entire world. The absolute best. But to the prospect, you're going to look like everyone else if you don't focus on external factors, right? Because in the prospect eyes, they don't have as much context as you have. So they'll see one SEO agency and they'll say, okay, there's another SEO agency. They look exactly the same. Which one's the cheapest? That's how people think. So what we need to do is focus on the external factors, focus on the presentation, focus on your perception, right? And the first way to do that is with the offer, right? The main goal with the offer is to present what you do as a transformation as opposed to a service. So instead of saying, hey, we'll set up your Google stuff and we'll set up your keywords and your content, and they'll be like, no one cares. But what we can do instead is say, hey, we help this dentist to generate an extra 10K by setting up these Google, keywords or content. Now it's transformational, right? Now there's a clear outcome. Now there's a clear reason for them getting onto a call with you, right? And in the same way, this is what we need to actually differentiate you from everyone else, because there's probably 10,000 people offering SEO, but there's only a few people that can talk about the transformations. So this immediately puts you in a unique situation, because you stand out from everyone else. And that's one of the biggest reasons why agencies can't sign clients or book meetings or charge high prices and consistently generate deal flow, because they look like everyone else. So you get the question, cool, this sounds great, but why are you different? Why shouldn't I just go with the cheaper guy down the road, right? Why shouldn't I just pick someone from Upwork, right? So this is what we're going to do. Focus on the offer, firstly. Present what you do as a transformation as opposed to a product or a service. And then the other way to differentiate yourself, the other way to leverage external factors is with providing value upfront. So similar to what I'm doing now, providing information, providing content that can be used, that can be consumed for free online, which is going to build trust at scale so that you'll have a much easier time selling, booking the meetings, and just generating new business in general. So there's tons of ways we go about this. For our clients, what we like to do is put together a sales letter. So I'll show you an example of that right now. So this is just an example from our growth plan that we put together for potential partners. And this is the 4th stage in it, and it's value at scale. So increasing efficiency of the sales process using media. So at this point, obviously I go through this entire growth plan with most of the prospects, but what it is leveraging media to scale. So at this point, you have a service, you have an offer, you're working with the right people, you have the opportunities. Now you're probably taking a lot of the sales yourself. You're doing everything face to face, call to call. So what we want to do is leverage all the information that we got from these calls, from these meetings that you're able to generate, and put it into a sales letter. So this is just one example of leveraging media, of the external factors. So we can put the sales letter together that's going to sell for us on autopilot, build trust on autopilot, and send it out to as many people as we want, right? Because it's content. There's no marginal cost of replication. We can send it to as many people as we want, and it's just going to sell for us on autopilot. So we're going to be using the external factors to our advantage. Another example is, like I was saying, YouTube videos. That's another one. And then any way that you can provide value as well. And then, case studies, those are great ones too. Anything that can position you in the best way possible. And then combining these 3 together, right? So building out a great offer so you can stand out. Building out the acquisition systems so that you can get in front of the right people, people with money, the people with the budget, people that can afford what you do, right? And stop relying on referrals and inbound. Right, so we have the offer, we have a way to get in contact with them, and then leveraging the external factors and the sales process, we can convert these prospects into high-paying clients because we're reaching out to the right people. Remember, we're reaching out to the right people with money, and it's a very easy conversion because our offer is so good. All we're doing is talking about transformations, and people will be able to sign up very predictably every single day, and you'll have a happy life and a scaled agency. So, hope you found this useful. If you did find it useful, subscribe, do all the other YouTube things, and I will talk to you in the next one.